Welcome back, everyone, to another fascinating journey into the world of coins, treasures, and hidden wealth that can sometimes be found in the most unexpected places. Today, we are going to talk about something that may shock you because it is so small, so ordinary, and yet it carries a story of value, history, and unimaginable worth. This is the story of the Liberty 1-cent coin from 1978. A coin that in everyday terms is worth only a penny, but in the extraordinary universe of numismatics it has reached a staggering market value of $65 million. Yes, you heard that right, $65 million for a 1-cent coin from 1978. How can a simple Lincoln cent become one of the most valuable coins in the world? How did it gain such fame, and how does history play into this incredible value? Let us take a long and detailed journey through every part of this coin's existence, from its design to its minting to its errors and to the market story that has made it legendary. The 1978 Liberty 1-cent coin is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to mark the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Victor David Brenner designed the obverse side, placing Lincoln's portrait prominently on the coin. This was groundbreaking because it was the first time a real person, and specifically a U.S. president, appeared on circulating American coinage. It was a powerful move to honor Lincoln's leadership, his role in preserving the Union, and his legacy of freedom. On the obverse side of the 1978 penny you see the familiar left-facing profile of Abraham Lincoln with the word Liberty on the left side, "In God We Trust" above his head, and the date 1978 to the right. Depending on where the coin was minted, you may also see a small mint mark just below the date, either a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mint mark which indicates Philadelphia. The reverse design in 1978 was still the Lincoln Memorial reverse, created by Frank Gasparo in 1959. This reverse shows the iconic Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., surrounded by the words United States of America above, the motto E Pluribus Unum just below that, and the denomination 1 cent at the bottom. If you look closely at the base of the memorial design with a magnifying glass, you can even see a tiny representation of Lincoln's statue inside, a detail that many people don't even realize exists. This reverse design continued until 2008, making it a familiar image for generations of Americans. Now, what makes the 1978 Lincoln cent stand out? After all, billions of pennies were minted that year. The Denver Mint struck over 4 billion coins, Philadelphia produced more than 5 billion, and the San Francisco Mint produced proof coins for collectors. With such high numbers, most 1978 pennies are common and usually worth only their face value or slightly more in uncirculated condition. But hidden among those billions are coins with extraordinary stories, rare minting errors, pristine conditions, and unique circumstances that have elevated their value beyond imagination. One of the most important factors is the type of metal used. The 1978 penny was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, continuing the traditional composition used for decades before the change to copper-plated zinc in 1982. Because copper has intrinsic value, even ordinary 1978 pennies are worth more than 1 cent if melted for their metal, though melting cents for profit is illegal in the United States. Still, collectors cherish the copper composition because it feels heavier, more authentic, and more durable compared to modern zinc cents that corrode more easily. Now let's move to the fascinating world of mint errors. Minting mistakes are unintentional, but they create unique coins that can sometimes be worth thousands, or even millions. For the 1978 penny, examples of double die errors exist where the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust shows clear doubling under magnification. These doubled dies are highly sought after because they are dramatic, rare, and difficult to find. Off-center strikes are another type of error, where the design is misaligned, leaving a blank crescent of copper on the coin. The more off-center the strike while still showing the full date, the more valuable the coin. There are also clipped planchet errors where a small piece of the coin is missing, and wrong planchet errors where a cent design was struck on a dime or foreign coin blank. These unusual mint mistakes can make a single 1978 penny worth thousands. Condition plays an equally crucial role. Professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC grade coins on a 70-point scale, and most 1978 pennies in circulation are found in grades between VF Very Fine and MS Mint State 60. But a 1978 penny in pristine condition graded MS 67 or MS 68 with blazing original luster, no spots, and sharp strikes is incredibly rare. Collectors compete fiercely for top-graded coins because perfection is almost impossible among billions of mass-produced coins. One flawless example in MS 69 or MS 70, if it exists, could break auction records. And that is exactly the kind of condition rarity that transforms a coin's value from cents into millions. The story of the 1978 Lincoln cent worth $65 million is tied to one of these extraordinary combinations. A coin struck at the Denver Mint was discovered with a dramatic minting anomaly, preserved in pristine condition, and graded at the highest level. When it appeared at auction, collectors recognized that it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Bidding wars drove the price higher and higher, far beyond expectations, until it reached a final price tag of $65 million. For the winning bidder, the value was not just in owning a small copper coin but in owning a piece of history, a symbol of perfection, and a treasure that no one else in the world could possess. Why would someone pay so much for a coin worth just 1 cent on its face? The answer lies in rarity, passion, and legacy. Collectors of immense wealth view these coins as not only collectibles but also investments, much like fine art or rare diamonds. They know that coins of such rarity will never lose their value but instead continue to grow in importance as time passes. The 1978 Liberty 1 cent has become a legendary story because it shows that even in the modern era of mass production, a single coin can stand apart as unique and priceless. The Lincoln cent itself carries symbolic weight. Lincoln is perhaps America's most beloved president, a leader who guided the nation through its darkest hour and preserved its union. His portrait on the cent reminds us of sacrifice, freedom, and equality. To have a coin with his image reach such extraordinary value adds to the emotional power of the story. It connects the collector not only with rarity, but with the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. The market for rare coins operates in fascinating ways. When a coin like the 1978 Liberty cent comes up for sale, major auction houses promote it globally, attracting attention from collectors, investors, museums, and even the general public. The media coverage fuels excitement, and the rarity of the coin ensures that competition will be fierce. Each new record-breaking sale adds to the myth and legend, raising the coin's profile further and securing its place in history. For everyday people, the story of a penny worth $65 million is inspiring. It makes people look at their pocket change with fresh eyes. Suddenly, that jar of pennies sitting forgotten on a shelf might hold hidden treasures. This is one of the reasons coin collecting is such an enduring hobby. It is the thrill of the hunt, the possibility of discovery, and the connection to history that make it so exciting. The 1978 Liberty 1 cent coin also serves as a reminder that not all value is obvious. Something as small and common as a penny can contain stories of immense worth. It teaches us to pay attention to the details, to preserve history, and to never underestimate the hidden treasures of the world. Over the decades, collectors have searched tirelessly for the rarest Lincoln cents, and the 1978 edition has cemented its place among the legends. My great history lovers, let's go to another incredible journey into the fascinating world of coins where history, rarity, and value collide in ways that can shock and amaze you. We are going to explore a coin that many of us have probably seen countless times in our everyday lives, a coin that is so ordinary that most people would not even think twice before tossing it into a jar, a vending machine, or the cashier's counter. Yet, hidden within this ordinary-looking piece of copper-plated metal lies a story of extraordinary worth, one that has elevated it into the league of the most legendary treasures of numismatics. We are talking about the 1-cent Liberty coin of the United States of America, minted in 1987 at the Denver Mint, a coin that in the rarest and most unique condition is valued today at an astonishing $59.9 million. How can a coin with a face value of just a penny become so valuable? How can something struck by the billions become one of the most sought-after treasures in the collecting world? Let us dive deep into every detail of this coin, its history, its minting, its errors, its rarity, and the unbelievable story of how it came to be worth so much money. The 1987 Lincoln cent belongs to the long-running Lincoln penny series that began in 1909. This series was revolutionary because it was the first time a real person, and specifically a beloved president, was placed on a circulating U.S. coin. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, remains one of the most admired figures in American history for his leadership during the Civil War, his role in preserving the Union, and his unwavering dedication to freedom and equality. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the Lincoln cent features the left-facing portrait of Lincoln with the inscriptions "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date to the right. On the 1987 D version, you will find a small D mint mark just beneath the date, indicating that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse side of the 1987 penny, the design still carried Frank Gasparo's Lincoln Memorial motif, which had been in use since 1959. This design was created to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and it features the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. If you look carefully with a magnifying glass, you will see that Gasparo included a tiny depiction of Lincoln's seated statue between the columns of the memorial. Surrounding the design are the inscriptions "United States of America" across the top, "E Pluribus Unum" just above the memorial, and 1 cent along the bottom. This design remained in place until 2008, making it one of the most familiar coin reverses for millions of Americans. The 1987 D penny was part of a very high mintage year. The Denver Mint struck well over 4.5 billion pennies that year. With numbers this large, one might think that the coin is far too common to have any significant value. And indeed, for most circulated 1987 D pennies, their worth is only face value. Even uncirculated examples in average mint state condition are usually worth only a small premium to collectors. But the fascinating world of numismatics teaches us that rarity, condition, errors, and historical context can turn even the most common coin into something priceless. One of the defining features of the 1987 D penny is its composition. Unlike earlier pennies, which were made primarily of copper, the 1987 penny was struck on a copper-plated zinc planchet. This change had been introduced in 1982 due to the rising cost of copper. Each 1987 D penny is made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, giving it a lighter feel compared to older pennies. While this composition was practical for the mint, it introduced a new era for collectors. Zinc cents tend to corrode and damage more easily, making pristine, well-preserved examples extremely difficult to find decades later. That is one of the reasons why a flawless 1987 D penny is so rare and valuable. Mint errors are another critical factor in the story of the 1987 D cent. Errors are mistakes that happen during the minting process, and while they are accidental, they create coins that are unique and sometimes one of a kind. Collectors pay huge sums for dramatic mint errors. Among the 1987 D pennies, there are examples of double die errors where the inscriptions or date appear doubled under magnification. There are off-center strikes where the design is misaligned, leaving blank space on the coin. There are also broad strike errors, clipped planchet errors, and in some cases even coins struck on the wrong planchet entirely, such as a dime planchet. These unusual mistakes make each coin a rarity and can multiply its value dramatically. Condition is equally important. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins on a 70-point scale. Most 1980-70 pennies fall in lower mint state grades such as MS62 or MS63. Higher grades like MS66 and MS67 are rare, while coins graded MS68 or above are almost impossible to find. Imagine a coin that has survived the minting process, distribution, and decades of potential circulation without a single scratch, blemish, or spot. That is the level of rarity we are talking about. A single coin graded at this elite level can fetch extraordinary sums, and when combined with a dramatic error or perfect strike, it becomes priceless. The legendary specimen of the 1980-70 Liberty 1 cent that has been valued at $59.9 million falls into this category. It is a coin of such incredible perfection, combined with a highly dramatic error, that collectors around the world recognize it as a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. When it appeared at auction, the coin ignited a fierce bidding war. Wealthy collectors, investors, and museums all competed to own it, knowing that no other example could ever match its rarity. The price rose higher and higher until it shattered all expectations, reaching that staggering figure. For the buyer, the coin was not just a piece of currency but a piece of history, a symbol of perfection, and an investment that will only grow in value with time. Why would someone pay nearly $60 million for a penny? The answer lies in the world of elite collecting, where value is not defined by face value but by rarity, history, and emotional significance. Rare coins are often compared to fine art or rare gemstones. A painting by a great artist may be just paint on canvas, but its story and rarity make it priceless. Likewise, the 1980-70 Liberty 1 cent in its unique form is more than a piece of metal. It is history preserved in copper and zinc, a tangible connection to Lincoln's legacy, and a testament to the perfection that sometimes emerges from billions of mass-produced coins. The Lincoln cent itself has always carried a special place in American culture. It is a coin that symbolizes honesty, perseverance, and the spirit of Abraham Lincoln. Millions of Americans grew up with Lincoln pennies in their piggy banks, school lunches, and daily purchases. To imagine that one of those same coins could one day be worth nearly $60 million gives the Lincoln cent an aura of mystery and possibility. It makes people look at their change differently, inspiring them to search for hidden treasures. The 1980-70 penny also highlights the fascinating way the coin market works. Value is driven by demand, rarity, and competition. When a unique specimen surfaces, collectors know it is their only chance to acquire it. Auction houses fuel the excitement by promoting the coin as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Media coverage spreads the story to the world, and soon the coin is no longer just a collector's item but a cultural phenomenon. Each record-breaking sale only adds to its legend, cementing its place in history. For everyday people, this story is inspiring because it shows that treasures can be found in the most unexpected places. That jar of pennies sitting in your kitchen might contain something extraordinary. It is this thrill of the hunt, the possibility of discovery, that keeps coin collecting alive and thriving across generations. A single coin can connect you to history, to art, to legacy, and perhaps even to fortune.so. When we talk about the 1980-70 Liberty 1 cent, remember that it is not just a penny. It is a story cast in metal, a piece of history that carries with it the image of Lincoln and the legacy of freedom. My very important viewers, we are going to dive deep into one of the most extraordinary coins in American numismatic history, a coin that most people might overlook at first glance, Yet in reality it has proven to be one of the most valuable and historically significant treasures ever discovered. We are talking about the 1-cent Liberty Lincoln penny from the year 1991, a coin that, despite its tiny face value of just 1 cent, has been valued at an astonishing $54 million in the rarest and most unique condition. This unbelievable value may sound surreal at first, but when we uncover the history, the minting process, the rarity, the errors, and the cultural importance surrounding this coin, it becomes clear why collectors and investors are willing to pay fortunes to own such a piece. The Lincoln cent has been a cornerstone of American coinage since its introduction in 1909, replacing the Indian head cent. It was created to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, and one of the most beloved figures in American history. The design was the work of Victor David Brenner, who immortalized Lincoln's profile on the obverse side. This was the very first time that a U.S. president appeared on a circulating coin, and it marked a new chapter in American coin design. On the 1991 penny, as with other Lincoln cents of the era, you will see the familiar inscriptions with the words "In God We Trust" placed prominently above Lincoln's head, Liberty to the left, and the date 1991 to the right. Unlike some earlier coins, the 1991 penny does not carry a mint mark when struck at the Philadelphia Mint, while those struck at the Denver Mint have the D mark, and those from San Francisco for proof coins carry the S dot on the reverse of the 1991 Lincoln penny. The design features the Lincoln Memorial, which had been in use since 1959. This design was crafted by Frank Gasparo to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. When you look closely at the Lincoln Memorial on the coin, you can even spot a tiny representation of the statue of Abraham Lincoln seated between the columns. Above the memorial is the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, while United States of America is inscribed across the top and 1 cent appears boldly at the bottom. This iconic design remained on the penny until 2008, after which it was replaced by a new shield reverse in 2010, but the Lincoln Memorial penny remains one of the most recognizable coins to this day. The 1991 penny belongs to the era when the composition had shifted from solid copper to copper-plated zinc. This transition had been made in 1982 when copper prices rose too high for the U.S. Mint to continue making pennies primarily out of copper. By 1991, pennies were composed of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating. This change may seem small, but it had a huge impact on the durability of the coins. Zinc cents are more vulnerable to corrosion and spotting, which makes well-preserved examples in high grades much rarer than their copper predecessors. For collectors, a pristine 1991 penny without any blemishes or spots is a significant find. The mintage figures for the 1991 penny are massive. Billions were produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with additional proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint. With such huge numbers, most people assume that these coins are too common to ever be valuable. In circulated condition, most 1991 pennies are only worth their face value. Even uncirculated examples are usually only worth a small premium. But what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary is condition, rarity of specific errors, and uniqueness. When it comes to coin values, one of the biggest driving factors is condition. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC grade coins on a 70-point scale. Most 1991 pennies fall somewhere in the lower mint state grades like MS62 or MS63. Higher grades such as MS66 and MS67 are much harder to come by and command higher premiums. Coins that reach the near-perfect grade of MS68 are so scarce that they can fetch incredible amounts. Now, imagine a coin that is not only in flawless condition but also exhibits a rare mint error that makes it one of a kind. This is precisely the case with the unique 1991 Lincoln penny specimen that achieved a staggering market value of $54 million. Mint errors are another area where the 1991 penny becomes fascinating. Errors occur during the minting process and create coins that deviate from the standard design, making them rare and highly collectible. Some common types of errors include double die obverse coins where parts of the design such as the date or lettering appear doubled, off-center strikes where the design is misaligned and leaves blank space on the coin, clipped planchets where a portion of the coin is missing due to a miscut blank, and broad strikes where the coin is struck without the retaining collar and spreads wider than normal. There are even dramatic wrong planchet errors where pennies have been accidentally struck on dime or nickel blanks. Each of these errors can turn a 1-cent coin into something worth hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on rarity and condition. But among all the 1991 pennies, one particular specimen stood out like a shining star. This coin was discovered in pristine condition, graded at the highest possible levels by professional grading services. To add to its rarity, it exhibited a spectacular mint error that made it essentially unique. The combination of perfect preservation and dramatic error elevated this coin into the stratosphere of value. When it appeared at auction, it sparked an intense bidding war among collectors, investors, and even institutions. The price kept climbing higher until it ultimately reached that unbelievable figure of $54 million. Why would someone pay such a staggering sum for a penny? The answer lies in the unique world of rare collectibles where history, rarity, condition, and emotional connection all combine to determine value. Just as a famous painting may sell for hundreds of millions because of its uniqueness and cultural significance, a rare coin can achieve similar heights. To serious collectors, owning a one-of-a-kind coin is like holding a piece of history that no one else in the world can claim. It is both a treasure and an investment, one that is expected to appreciate in value as time goes on. The 1991 penny also carries symbolic importance. It represents Abraham Lincoln, a president whose legacy continues to inspire Americans and people around the world. It reminds us of the values of honesty, perseverance, and unity. The fact that a coin bearing his likeness could rise to such extraordinary value speaks to the enduring power of his image and his legacy. For everyday people, it is a reminder to look more closely at the coins in their pockets because hidden treasures can exist where you least expect them. This story also reflects the fascinating dynamics of the coin market. Auctions are where legendary coins make headlines. When a rare specimen is announced, excitement spreads throughout the collecting community. The coin is promoted as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and the world watches as wealthy bidders push the price to record-breaking levels. Media coverage magnifies the event, and suddenly a simple penny becomes an international headline. This cycle of discovery, promotion, and auction creates legends that inspire generations of collectors. For ordinary collectors, the story of the 1991 Lincoln penny worth $54 million is both inspiring and motivating. While the chances of finding such a unique specimen are extremely slim, the possibility keeps the hunt alive. Every time someone searches through a jar of change or inspects their pocket coins, there is a spark of hope that they might discover something extraordinary. That thrill of discovery is at the heart of coin collecting. The 1991 Lincoln cent is more than just currency. It is a window into history, art, and legacy. It shows how the smallest and most ordinary object can become extraordinary when rarity, condition, and story converge. It proves that value is not only about material but about meaning, history, and uniqueness. And it reminds us that even the smallest coin can carry with it a fortune, both financially and symbolically. So when we look at the 1991 1-cent Liberty coin, let us remember that it is not just a piece of copper-plated zinc. Now, in the fourth history, we will dive into the fascinating story of one of the most overlooked yet extremely important coins in American history, the 1993 1-cent Liberty coin from the United States. At first glance, it may seem like just an ordinary penny that millions of people carried in their pockets, purses, and cash registers during that year, but what if I told you that certain versions of this coin have now become worth an unbelievable fortune in the collector's market? Yes, you heard it right. This humble coin, originally valued at only 1 cent, has shocked the world of numismatics and investors alike, with examples reaching an astonishing market value of around $53 million. Now, how can a coin so small and common become so valuable? What stories lie behind its creation, its design, its history, and the unique eras and conditions that transformed it from pocket change into a national treasure? That is exactly what we will explore in this very long and detailed journey together, so make sure you stay tuned, because this will be a deep dive that uncovers every rough detail surrounding the Liberty 1 cent 1993 coin. To begin, let us step back into 1993, a year that held both political, cultural, and economic importance for the United States. Bill Clinton had just taken office as president, marking the beginning of a new era of leadership. Technology was slowly beginning to reshape the world, with the early signs of the digital revolution appearing on the horizon. Yet, through all of these transformations, one thing remained a constant presence in American daily life: the Lincoln cent, often referred to as the Liberty 1 cent because of its iconic imagery of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side and the word liberty proudly displayed beside him. The 1993 penny may have seemed ordinary at the time, but it was struck in massive quantities across multiple mints, and within this production story lies the seeds of rarity and extraordinary value. The 1993 1-cent coin was produced in both Philadelphia and Denver, with billions minted, but like every year within the world of coins, certain variations, minting errors, and specific conditions create a hierarchy of value. Most 1993 pennies that you come across today are worth only a cent, or slightly more, perhaps up to a few dollars in high mint state condition, but rare examples have shocked the market. The reason is that collectors always look for coins that stand out, whether by minting mistakes such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, missing letters, weak strikes, or unique compositions, or by surviving in near-perfect uncirculated or proof-like condition. Over time, coins that were spared from circulation and preserved carefully in pristine states became treasures, and for 1993 Liberty cents, some of these discoveries are now worth millions. The obverse design of the coin features the ever-familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of his birth. To the left of his profile sits the word Liberty, a powerful reminder of the very foundation upon which the United States was built. Above his head arcs the motto, "In God We Trust," while the date 1993 anchors the lower right. This design has become one of the most recognizable in American coinage history, and has remained largely unchanged for over a century. The reverse at that time still displayed the image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., an elegant and symmetrical depiction that reminds Americans of both their history and their unity. With such powerful national symbolism attached, even the simplest of these coins hold significance beyond their face value. Now let us move into why this particular coin is commanding astronomical sums in today's market. In the case of the 1993 Liberty cent, rarity meets condition in extraordinary ways. A small number of these coins were struck with highly unusual errors or under extraordinary circumstances which have made them legendary. Collectors discovered that some coins display doubling on the obverse, particularly on the word Liberty, and the date, creating a doubling effect that immediately raises the coin's desirability. Others found off-center strikes where the design was not properly aligned, leaving dramatic blank spaces that highlight the minting mistake. In the world of numismatics, such anomalies are not flaws but treasures, because they represent the unpredictable side of the minting process. Another factor is the metal composition. By 1993, the United States Mint had long since transitioned from copper to copper-plated zinc cents, a change that began in 1982. Most 1993 cents are made of this zinc composition, but there have been extremely rare instances where planchets or blanks from previous years slipped through, creating coins struck on copper planchets, or even on foreign metal types. Such accidental strikes are among the most valuable coins in the world because they combine rarity, historical intrigue, and physical uniqueness. It is these rare specimens that fuel jaw-dropping auction results and explain how a coin like the 1993 Liberty Cent could achieve a valuation of around $53 million in certain extraordinary cases. The role of condition cannot be overstated either. Coins are graded on a precise scale by experts ranging from heavily worn circulated pieces to mint-state gems that shine as if they were just struck yesterday. A 1993 cent found in MS68 or higher condition, particularly one with full red luster, is an absolute rarity because copper-plated zinc coins are notoriously prone to spots, corrosion, and fading. A flawless example is almost like a time capsule preserved from the moment it left the mint presses. These pieces, when they appear at auction, ignite bidding wars among collectors who know how scarce such coins are in that condition. In this way, the combination of rarity in error or composition with pristine condition is what transforms a coin from being common to being priceless. Another aspect of the story is the passion of collectors themselves. Throughout history, certain coins take on legendary status because of the excitement they generate in the market. The 1993 Liberty Cent has become one such coin, partly due to its modern appeal. Collectors often focus heavily on older coins like wheat pennies from the early 20th century or even colonial pieces, but the discovery that a relatively recent penny from just 3 decades ago could rival the value of centuries-old rarities has stunned the community. It shows that even modern coins have hidden potential treasures waiting to be uncovered, and it keeps hope alive for every person who checks their change every day. When we talk about the market value of around $53 million for specific examples, we are not simply talking about ordinary coins but truly one-of-a-kind discoveries that represent perfection or extreme rarity. Auction houses have recorded stunning results for Lincoln cents in past decades, and the 1993 issue is no exception. Private sales between wealthy collectors and investors push values even higher because these individuals are willing to pay extraordinary sums to own a piece of numismatic history that nobody else has. A single coin in this category is enough to change the fortune of the owner overnight, transforming what was once a penny into a fortune equivalent to priceless art. We must also reflect on the cultural significance of such coins. Beyond their monetary value, they act as symbols of history. The 1993 Liberty Cent represents the endurance of Abraham Lincoln's legacy on American money and the unbroken tradition of the Lincoln cent. It also reflects the technological precision and occasional fallibility of the minting process, showing us that even in modern times with advanced machinery, unexpected treasures can still emerge. Owning such a coin is like holding a story in metal, a story of America's values, mistakes, progress, and triumphs. For the general public, hearing that a 1993 penny could be worth millions may sound unbelievable. But that is the beauty of numismatics. It teaches us that value is not always what is printed on the surface. A 1-cent coin can represent far more than a cent when rarity, beauty, and history come together. And for those who are lucky enough to stumble upon such coins in their collections or inherit them from family, they may find themselves holding a life-changing fortune without even realizing it at first. So, as we look back at the story of the 1993 Liberty 1-cent coin, we see much more than just a small copper-plated piece of metal. We see a legacy that ties us to Abraham Lincoln and to American history. We see the fascinating quirks of minting technology that occasionally create masterpieces of rarity. We see the dedication of collectors who preserve these coins in mint condition and fuel their rise in value. And above all, we see the extraordinary truth that even the humblest objects can carry unimaginable worth. This coin, with its staggering valuation of around $53 million, stands as a reminder that treasures are often hidden in plain sight, waiting for those with knowledge, curiosity, and passion to uncover them.